Hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Still like that music, but I'm looking for something different too. So if you all have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. How you doing today? Well, today I'm going to present a practical 7-step framework to guide your professional reinvention process. Now, this strategic blueprint will empower you with tools to recharge your career and expand your influence with renewed purpose. My goal is for you to walk away from this conversation feeling equipped and energized to navigate your pivot and become the leader you aspire to be in your next dynamic chapter. Because I know it's going to be all of that. And by investing this time today, and I so appreciate that you've joined me, you're going to gain clarity on how to maintain professional progress while honoring personal priorities and emerge more motivated than ever to leave an enduring mark. I'm Dr. Geneva, leadership expert and a LinkedIn top leadership voice. And I know firsthand the emotional and strategic challenges leaders face during profound professional change. I myself went through 3 monumental career transformations. I started in one organization at the bottom position, worked my way up in 6 or 7 different positions, and became the first female CEO of a multi-million dollar organization. Transformation. Then, after being in that organization and also orchestrating a merger of that organization with another after several years leading it, I was approached to lead, to really create and lead a new national model, and became a founder of an innovative model for growth and collaboration and more revenue being brought into the community. And then my latest venture in my late 60s was pivoting from this nonprofit world where I had been for many, many years to start my own successful business as a late life entrepreneur. So I've been through it and I have some things to say. And while clearly these transitions were oftentimes turbulent, the resiliency that I built up, didn't just happen. It did come from methodically thinking about doing, executing, failing, making mistakes, learning. But it came from all of that. And what emerged was several key reinvention steps throughout these periods of massive change. And I leaned on a number of these steps and guidance during this growth period, turbulent as it was, and navigating those transitions, oftentimes, again, with a lot of emotion involved. But I emerged from each shift more focused, energized, and connected to purpose. And during each of these transitions, I learned and I developed specific strategies that helped me when I felt uncertain, that I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I knew I had to be successful and I knew I could contribute. Well, now I want to pass along these steps, this reinvention blueprint. And I want you to consider this as a guide through your career pivots when the way forward sometimes seems a little messy and chaotic, which it will. And these steps illuminated my path, and they can light yours too. So let me just say good morning and hello to, oh, we've got just hello, everybody. I just Maureen, my dear, dear friend in Soror, and good to see you, and Sean, all the way from Spain. Yes, indeed. So good to see all of you. Judy, how are you? Pleasure, 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 pleasure. And there she is. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be a Wednesday and a live stream without Dr. Pierre. How you doing? All the way from Dallas. And so many of you are coming in from Dallas and from Spain and from Detroit, just enjoying seeing all of you. And I'm hoping you'll enjoy this conversation, but more importantly, that you will um, get some real tools and value out of this mm, discussion, this blueprint, these steps that I'm going to give you that I've learned through my major career transformations and the steps that I put together. So, welcome again. And I'm just so delighted. So, let's get to it. All right, so now you know I'm starting. All right, I'm trying to become this pro, working in my third act here, being a producer and a writer and a creator and the whole shot here with the show. I got a note from someone the other day who said, I want to know who it is, your crew who helps you produce these lives and everything. And I said, well, you're looking at her, you're talking to her. I do have some wonderful people who help me on my team. They're fantastic. Um, but these shows, I do me, myself, because I said I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and learn something, learn how to do it. Um, and so here it is. So I'm just doing all that. You know, that's just some time for me to get the to get my stuff straight here to pull this up. You know, I do a little side conversation. Okay, let's get going. The first step in a 7-step blueprint that I want to share with you is about defining your outcomes. Now, this can be tricky because you might say to me, well, Dr. Geneva, why am I defining my outcomes? If I'm going to a new career, a new job, or I'm starting a new business, I already know what I got to do, what my outcomes are. Make some money, um, be real successful, be the best new executive in a position. I already know. But what I'm suggesting to you is that you really think about what you want to be when it's over. So when you've finished this assignment, What is it that you want to um, come out of the assignment? Where do you want to be professionally and personally? In other words, w- what growth do you want to have occurred? What successes do you want to have achieved? What mindset do you want to have? So often, when we move into a new career opportunity, whether it's within our own company or it's stepped out, or we step outside of our industry or we start a new business, we're thinking about the specifics of the job or the assignment. Now, you got to do that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about defining your future self, what you want to be, what you want to look like, what you want to have learned when the assignment is over for you. And this is your own personal um, checklist of things. Now, oftentimes my list included, you know, being successful at whatever assignment. When I was asked to start this new national model whose purpose was to not only create these incredible collaborations between all kinds of disparate groups, for them to come to agree on how do you get more money for social problems in the community. Of course, there were very some specific goals, but one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to, when I finished this assignment, I wanted to be known as one of the top fundraisers, one of the top individuals who can create, can attract resources into the community. And so, it wasn't really about the specific objectives as much on my list as I defined my outcomes where I want to be professionally. I also, during this time, asked myself, well, what's my exit strategy? And one of the things that we know, particularly if you're starting a business, in the early days, just as you're starting out, thinking about how you're going to exit is so critical and important. Do you want to sell the business? Do you want to give the business to your children? What is it when you're successful? After you've become successful, what do you want to do with your business? So, the point of the matter is, what I'd like you to consider and do is to define your future outcomes up front. So let me know. I want to know, does that resonate with anyone? What do you think? Do you, when you're starting a new career or a new um, opportunity, do you think down the future, down the road, what happens when this opportunity is over and where do I want to be? What outcomes do I want to have? Um, so I'd love to hear that. Oh, Judy! Yes. Oh, Judy worked with me when at United Way with how are you? So good for you to be here. Thank you. I'm loving connecting with you. And thank you, Dr. Pierre. Hey, thank you so much. Talking about learning. Yes, do it. Okay, so please give me some comments about that first step because I want to know if you, and Sean said he thought about, I like the idea, never thought about this before. Yeah, again, when we get a new assignment or something to do, and it's wonderful, we're so busy focused on that, we don't put enough time, but you will now, right? Now that you know, you'll do better. And that's what it's all about. Okay, let's move to the second step in your professional transformation. I want you to confront the elements in the room. Okay. Now, this is something I'm telling you, I spent a lot of time and I put an S on elephant. you'll notice. Not confront the elephant like one. I'm talking about more than one. And what I'm talking about are those fears and uncertainties that you have about any new transition, any new professional opportunity. There's always the excitement, okay, and and that's good, and that's an emotion, absolutely. But there are also some of the fears and the obstacles and the uncertainties we have, whether am I still going to be relevant, worrying about am I too old, or will I be able to keep up with younger people? All of those things. I want you to confront them. And I remember when I started my announcing and talking about starting my business. And as I told you, you know my story. I was late life, 60s, when I decided to start my business. I can't tell you how much I got. Don't you think you're too old? And I didn't think it. But here, it's get you to start to wonder. And I had to confront that element. And that's what I'm saying. So, what I'm suggesting to you is I want you to name the elephant, name that emotional elephant, whatever it is. And mine happened to be the concern, the uncertainty about whether or not am I too old? Okay. I want you to confront it without apology or sugarcoating. Lay it right out there. And then look at those assumptions and the truths about the matter. And be kind to yourself while you're doing it. Offer yourself empathy and reassurance and, deal with that sucker. Don't don't let it just lay there and be that elephant in the room because as you're doing and going through your transformation as a professional, you're going to have enough elephants in them rooms that you're going to be in. Don't have this one. Don't have those emotional elephants that weigh you down from a negative, where you're questioning yourself. Okay. And so what I had to do was after I identified, what the emotion was about thinking that maybe am I too old? And that whole aging thing. I then, as I began to think about it and the things I want to achieve and started and, thought about other people who had done all kinds of miraculous things, irrespective of their age, and, read books like, the AARP president, Joanne, who has this fantastic book about disrupt aging and so, et cetera, et cetera. So I began to, and then I finally reframed that what could have been a weakness of I'm too old into, no, I just got a whole lot of wisdom. So you're going to have the elephants. They're going to be these emotional things that really cause them negative and them talks in your head. One of the things to do is to confront them, deal with them, identify them, recast them suckers, okay, and move on. All right. So that's my second. Love to hear your reaction and what do you all think about this? Um, so Dr. Pierre said, elephants in the room when taking on their whole soup full. Yes, yes. See, that's what I was saying. I ain't lying to you. I mean, I am giving you the real deal. And some of the things that we don't think about, again, as we're, going into a new career or a new job, etc., we don't stop and deal with these things. And these steps that I'm giving you will really open up yourself much wider to being able to elevate your leadership, being able to pivot with grace and confidence, because these are real deal things that happen. Okay. So, oh, and also, uh, Dr. Pierre talks about defining those things up front. Yes, yes, yes. We want to think about what we're going to get from it and what we're going to walk away. Excellent. I love it. And thank you so much. And oh, Maria, so glad you're here. You are never late. If you show, you are never late. Um, and so Judy is saying, I thought about it, but will now that it's being brought to my attention. Are you talking about the elephants in the room? Let me know if that's the one you're talking about. And Maria, you're not late. We're getting ready to go on to into the third step in the 7-step blueprint for professional transformation. And I want to say again, for just thank you for those on the live, for those of you who will be joining on the replay. I'm happy that you're coming on and getting this information. And of course, if you find it valuable, love to see you every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, or you can even join me at Elevate nextlevelsuccess.com. And that's a really cool place where we are. Please welcome and say hello when you join us. And I'll take that banner off now and let me work this show. So, third, I want to talk about legacy and how important I think it is for you high achievers to really rethink the way you look at legacy as you're pivoting. So, this is the step that involves, um, with every major transition in my leadership journey, whether it was launching my new company or pivoting to an unfamiliar industry, one of the driving forces underneath was legacy, my legacy intent. Now, I really would think about what imprint I hoped I would make. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm a baby boomer and we baby boomers, we just really we want to change the world. I don't know what that is. I think it's probably more for me the way I was raised by my mom, who was a school teacher. My dad was a government worker, and they were also civil rights activists. And every day they believed that one of the most important contributions they could make was to open doors for others, the doors of opportunity. And they did that every single day. So I learned about leadership and reciprocity at a very, very young age. And so as I thought about, you know, my next steps and the legacy, it had to be more than the awards or recognitions that I got. I came to that point, and now I got a bunch of awards and accolades, etc. And as you get those, I congratulate you for the good, fine work that you do, how you help others. And those are really symbols of that. That's cool. That's all good. But as I moved through these major professional transitions, I realized that the imprint or what I wanted to do regarding legacy was really about how I could uplift, open doors for others. And so, how could I empower more women, for example, to shatter glass ceilings like I did? Um, what cultures could I reshape and mold to open the doors to people who wouldn't ordinarily be able to get into that conference room or that boardroom. How could I, shape my legacy so it went far beyond trophies and awards and um, things that were said? I wanted my everyday efforts to spur others' transformation, even as I continue to reinvent myself. So I surrounded myself with opportunities like that, younger folk who made me think bigger, who also I coached and gave rise to their voices to take my job next. And that's what I would say to the people who work for me. You're here. I want you to have a great resume when you leave here or when you take my position. And so it really was about, um, during my working years, the blueprint really was about to live what I wish to leave behind, if you understand what I'm saying. And so everything I did was about that legacy and that kind of imprint and really rising up the next generations. And that not only sustained me, but really helped me grow. And once I got into that groove, I never had to really look back and see whether or not I left a mark, because I could look forward and see the leaders, the young leaders who had grown up and were cultivating now, and they were leaving their own legacies. So, for those of you who think about this very key question of legacy, I suggest to you that you integrate how you think about legacy, what you want your legacy to be in the pivot that you're making in whatever career that you go in. You will grow and think about all of the others that will grow. And I think this is a very important um, lesson for us all to learn about legacy so that as you step into your new leadership, fantastic opportunities, that you're thinking about who you can bring along, who you can cultivate to grow. Because I know if you like me, you didn't get wherever you are without the help of others. And so what I'm suggesting is not only pay it back and pay it forward, but be intentional about your legacy and how you leave it. And thank you, Dr. Pierre. Yes, it was a beautiful legacy, my parents. And yes, let's make things better. I know you do. And you do that in all the work and everything that you do, Dr. Pierre. And readying for your job next. Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And so other comments that any of you might have, um, influence transcending the present and marks the future. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for that comment. Okay, so let's get now to, okay, okay, I'm here. This is one of my favorites. The number 4 step that I invite you to think about in your professional transformation is to reconnect with your beginner's mindset. This is one of my favorite strategies. And so, first, you may say, well, what do you mean by this beginner's mindset? Well, I want you to think about when you first learned how to drive. Ooh, you was excited, but you had to really think about adjusting that mirror, how you had to park, and if traffic was coming in your way, like if a car went in front of you, you probably panicked. Remember that first time, when you were learning how to drive? But now you don't even think about it, do you? You just hop in the car, press a button, turn on the music. You can size up situations. You can see traffic. You can pretty much gauge what's going to happen. You know how to moderate your speed. You know it. You're an expert in it. Well, reconnecting with a beginner's mindset suggests that you don't know it all. And it's time for you to think about things as not being the expert and be curious and look for fresh ideas, new input, different perspectives. And for those of us who are particularly in this phase where we are high achieving leaders, we've achieved so much success, etc. Now, look, I am not suggesting that you say that your wisdom and experience don't count. Because, coming from me, I do. But, all I talk about is leveraging your wisdom and experience because that's what I think sets us apart, etc. I ain't talking about that. So here's what I'm saying. When I'm suggesting to you that you put the wisdom and the experience on pause for a moment and approach a situation like, well, I don't know everything about this, and I'd like to learn. Because that gets you to ask questions, to be curious, to hear what other people say. And as you build that into your portfolio, it creates incredible knowledge and power. When I became the first female executive of a multi-million dollar organization that I had been in for quite a while and had been in various positions throughout the organization. So I knew everything that there was in every aspect of the organization. When I stepped into that CEO role, I decided that I was going to adopt a beginner's mindset and act like I didn't know nothing about what was going on. So, what this made me do, if that's the case, if you don't know nothing about what's going on, what it did was it made me go find out. So, I went and I talked to staff. And I mean, these were people I had known for years. I talked to them and I asked them questions, what do you like about this organization? What would you change? What's new? What's different? I went and talked to my board. Of course, I knew them. They hired me. But I acted like I didn't. I wanted to hear from them. I was curious. Why are you still on this board? Why did you select me? What are some of the expectations you have? I went to donors. I had been successful. One of the reasons I got the gig was because I was a bad fundraiser. I mean, I could get that money. And there were hundreds of programs that I created, got funding for, and were out in the community. So the donor community, they knew me and knew me well. I acted like we didn't know each other, like I didn't know. And I went and asked them what kinds of things did they want to invest in, not now, but in the future. So, do you see? I want to really make this point that this cultivating and using a beginner's mindset can be an incredible strategy because the information in my journey that I gathered was so I learned things, heard things, people things that people don't want to tell you unless you ask. Things that people will, really when you stop and think, you'll get those new and exciting perspectives that you wouldn't have got before if you knew it all. Now you have to regulate your emotions and your ego about this because you were put in that position because you knew what you was doing. Okay. So it's that balancing act. But if you approach it as, because one of the things I would say was, I would be straight up about it. I want to approach this. I want to have a conversation with you Like, I really don't know what's going on, and I want to find out what you think. Or you can just say, I want to find out what you think. You don't have to make excuses for what you're doing. You can use this as a strategy that you use. The point is that this strategy probably has gotten me one of the, has gotten me one of more, it's just gotten me more than anything. What I've learned, the colleagues and friends I've made, and et cetera, et cetera. And people really respect you for listening to them. So I think that this strategy, really, really made a difference for me. Would like to know your thoughts. Have you had a situation where you um, treated your leadership expertise, put it on pause, and really listened and found out what other things were possible? Please leave me some comments. Okay, the fifth one is to refresh your leadership image. So, how many of you know what I'm going to talk about on this one? Let me know what you think. What do you think this strategy is about? Yes, yes, it is about changing your look and revamping your style, your personal style, to align with how you want to look, feel, and be perceived. As I made transitions in my career, I changed my wardrobe every time. Okay. Some was a refresh, some was a clear revamp. But because there were different audiences, different positioning, I wanted to be strategic. There was an executive presence that was needed for each of the professional transformations that were different. um, from when I was in an organization I had been in for years to creating a startup and having to get venture capital funding to running a successful business. Each one of those, becoming a coach, all of those things required a presence that communicated a different kind of status and confidence. And it's very important to be mindful of your image so that it resonates with what you're going through internally so that you can be strategic and intentional. And yeah, Sean puts it real clear. Bottom line, update your wardrobe. That's right. It's so important. And it's not just the wardrobe, Sean, but also your accessories, how you carry yourself, all of that. But it's important to think about your image as you go to these different um, points in your transition. If you agree with me, give me a yes in the comments. That's all I want to hear. A yes if you agree with that. Refresh your leadership image matters. But if you don't, I want to hear that. No, I don't. And please tell me why. So, the next um, strategy I want to leave you with in this 7 point blueprint. And for those of you who are saying, okay, she's at number 6, that means we got this one and one more to go. I've got a bonus one coming up. So don't leave yet. Hang with me for this bonus one. I probably should have said that in the beginning before I started, but I'm just starting out here. I'm just here to share the knowledge. I'm not got all of that together, but anyway, so we've got this one, another one, and I got a bonus for you. So this one, boost your self-care. All right. So what do I mean by this? Well, as you're going through your professional transformations, as you're contemplating that new job or starting that new business or moving from one city to another to take on a new assignment, you got to make sure your self-care is on point. So, excuse me, whatever you're doing now, do more better. Excuse me. Whatever you're doing now, do more better. Okay. So because there is an executive level pressure and lifestyle demands that you've got, and you have to assess whether what you're doing now is going to fully uh, replenish and take care of the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual places you need to be. And if there's not, you need to do something about that. I remember when I moved from the nonprofit into the for-profit world, and it was right after the death of my husband due to cancer. And I knew I had to uptick my workout regimen. Now, I'd been working out for years. I started doing it as a way to get out the house in the morning with, kids and husband and all I had. So it was really great. Um, but for years, I'd been working out. But I realized that going into this completely new industry, this professional transformation really required me to up my game in terms of my physical exercise. When I went to start that new national nonprofit, stepping away from an organization I'd been with for years into this new, brand new startup with all the eyes on it, I also was going through perimenopause and menopause. And so I had to really stop and evaluate that, how I was going to get through all of that and still be a star. And those are some real kinds of things. So my point is that, we really need to take a moment to evaluate our self-care. What we're doing, is it going to be enough for whatever we're going into? And when we find those gaps, figure out ways to fill them. We can research and invest in, whatever the latest new um, exercises or well-being modalities are that, deal with executive stresses, and build in those kinds of restorative practices as a routine. And get a coach, go to retreats. But the point is that there will be stress that lies ahead as you're making your transitions and transformations as a professional, as you're taking that next level, and to give yourself a heads up where you boost your self-care is an important comment. And so, yes, I see there's several yeses on the whole thing about, self-care and wardrobe imaging, etc. Okay. So, do you have a self-care routine? I'd like to know if you do. Do you have a self-care routine that works for you now? Put a yes or no in the comments. I'd like to know, or a thumbs up or thumbs down. Let me know about your self-care. And again, remember that one of the most important strategies you can take is to boost whatever you're doing now to something that will align with and support you and replenish you in your new um, transition, as you're going through your transition, as you're professionally transforming. Okay, so build your tribe. Mm, mm, build your tribe. Yes. So finding the people, making sure that you have the people around you that will support you. My secret asset during my career shifts was the tribe I had cultivated at every stage. And it lifted me so much higher that I could leap alone. That's the truth. And I learned early on not to pivot solo. When I first came into my career, I was one of the first and onlys in pretty much everything. And so there was never anyone who was in the room who looked like me, thought like me, and was my age. I was always younger. And so early on, I recognized that I can't do this alone. So I began to, at a very early stage in my career, build my tribe. And I found so many allies along the way, and I consistently built it and built it and built it. And one of those assets, the strategy that I used as I moved from transition to transition, transformation, new career shifts, was to have my tribe with me, the tribe that I have, as well as create new ones. Because sometimes we forget that the people who are around us now really can offer so much incredible support. And it isn't just about running out and creating new allies and friends, though you need to do that. But don't do that and neglect the support system you have now. So, build your tribe talks about leveraging and relying on those around you as well as building new connects and informing them about your professional transformations and what you're looking at, some of the career ideas you have, the moves you want to make. You find the ones, of course, that you know, like, and trust to share that and build that with them. But in every move you make, rely on your tribe. Don't journey alone. That's the point. And if you need any help in, well, trying to figure out how you can leverage that, give me a call. It's something we can talk about. Building relationships, managing them, creating networks is what I do. And that being strategic, having a conversation, just book an appointment with me. We can talk. You can go to my profile in LinkedIn, and right underneath my face or somewhere there near my face, it says book an appointment. Please, we can talk. We can talk strategy, 45 minutes to have a conversation about ways that I can help you. You can bounce things off of me. I'll give you feedback, just a conversation. But remember that you're building your tribe. Don't go alone, and definitely activate those networks that you have. And remember, there's several networks that you can create, including a social network that can give you support, as well as an industry network and a civic and community network, a donor and investor network. So there's different ranges and types of networks that you should have and you can use as you go along your professional transformation. But the thing is that don't go it alone. Um, Oh, yes. So Sean was back at that self care, talking about adding that massages and manicures and pedicures. Absolutely. Boosting your self care is one of those strategies we talked about. And so, again, this build your tribe. How many of you do you think that this is a strategy that works? Put a yes, thumbs up if you do. If you have some other thought about that, I'd love to hear it, but please give me some comments. And so those are the 7 steps, this blueprint for professional transformation. I want to leave you, though, as I said, with a bonus. So, what I want to add to this blueprint for your personal as well as professional transformation, because it's both, because we're not um, two different people. We're one person. We got a lot going on. So, this blueprint for your professional transformation, what I wanted to leave you with is the strategy of finding and giving joy. Yeah, finding and giving joy. So, I think I'll put that on here as I'm talking about it. So, you see, I'm really trying to show off my skills, right? So, finding and giving joy is about you um, finding and giving joy is about doing for yourself what makes you happy. In spite of all of the career advancements, the things we do in the workplaces, the businesses we run, those are great things. They will give us great success and achievement. At the end of the day, however, what's the joy that you find in yourself? What makes you happy? Make sure you incorporate something you love every day into your routine. You may tell me, Dr. Geneva, I don't have time for that. Yes, you do. And again, if you want to find time and how to do that, you definitely need to give me a call. I work with so many high achievers, and this is one of the biggest. I don't know how to have fun. Where do I find time to find joy? You can do it. You need to do it. I can help you do it. But finding joy within yourself is all about being happy and doing the things that you love to do. And just like I love to come on here and talk to y'all and share my wisdom with you and experience and help you and listen to your concerns or problems or just your feedback. Um, I think it's so important. But the other part is giving joy. And the give part, ooh, that's kind of just a little sweeter because you taking time to volunteer in your community to help a young person learn how to read, to mentor someone in a younger generation, to contribute financially to an up and coming business, to support arts and culture in your community. All of those things where you give of yourself make a difference in life. So, as we think about our professional transformation, I want you to include in those thinkings how you can find and give joy. I love being here with you today. I'm hoping you found value in the conversation. If you did, you know what to do. If you're on YouTube, give me a like and subscribe. Uh, Anywhere else, just come back the next time every Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Love to see you and have the best of best days and be the leader only you can be. See you.